Hi guys! So this is a bit of an unscheduled video. Normally when it comes to doll news, I would just delegate that to the videos where I discuss new releases that I do around once a month or so, but I literally cannot wait a month to talk about all of this. This being, of course, all the new content we're getting of Monster High, specifically the still we got from the upcoming live-action movie, and oh my god, the Haunt Couture collector dolls that were literally just announced at the time of me recording this. So Monster High is very, very special to me. I've been collecting it since it came out in 2010. It was the line that got me into doll collecting as a serious hobby. It's so incredibly special to me, and that's why I wanted to devote an entire video to talk about the reboot, or what we've seen of it so far. So this is a video I want to get out pretty quickly, so it's not super organized. I just have like a few notes here of some stuff I wanted to specifically talk about, and there's not a whole lot of visuals I can use in editing or anything, so it's gonna be more rambly, a lot more talky than usual, and if that's not your thing, I completely understand. I will see you on the next one. So, Monster High, it's actually back, like, officially. Like, obviously I knew it was coming back, but it didn't really feel completely real until pretty much just right now, and god, I'm so excited. So the first thing I want to hit on is the little preview we got from the upcoming live action movie, because that was the first thing we saw, and when we saw it, well, people really weren't happy about it. Twitter specifically really trashed on this image, which kind of surprised me because I thought they looked great. So, okay, pre-pandemic, I was a costume designer. I majored in costume design in college and everything. I never worked in film specifically, my focus was more on live theater, but even so, I can offer some insight. So, whatever you think the budget of this made-for-TV Nickelodeon original movie is, I want you to take that number and divide it by, like, 3. And then take maybe 5% of that, and then 1% of that number, and you'll probably get somewhere close to what the costume budget for this film was. And I'm probably exaggerating, but when you work as a costume designer, that's pretty much how it feels. A lot of work goes into constructing and sourcing garments, and that work is very rarely appreciated or understood by the rest of production. And that might not be the case here, considering Monster High is very fashion focused, so I would like to think they would put more resources into the costume department. But even if that was the case, this movie had a very short production time, like extremely short. And that's not surprising, but it's another thing to consider. And that rant out of the way, I still think the costumes look great. I think people were being extremely hateful for literally no reason. Like, for instance, I saw a lot of people saying Frankie's red earring looked stupid, but if you pay attention, you'll see she also has this bright blue tie and this neon yellow chain belt, so that's clearly a reference to the fact that Frankie's dolls very often used primary color schemes, or that they usually had like this fun pop of color that was usually either red, blue, or yellow, again, primary colors. So whoever designed these outfits clearly knew their stuff and did their research, and for me, that's probably the most important thing. These outfits could literally be made out of tissue paper and tape for all I care. As long as I see effort was put into knowing the source material and some real heart was put behind the designs, then I'm probably going to be happy. And I honestly think they did a great job of capturing the styles and the spirits of the characters. Draculaura looks great. I think they're really leaning more into a more overtly gothic Lolita-inspired aesthetic for her in the reboot, which we'll see more of later, and I love that, down to the split-dye wig that was extremely popular in Lolita communities in like 2010 to 2014. So I know everyone was like waiting for Draculaura to get a split dye, and it finally happened. Claudine's outfit is also really cool. I love the colors. Yeah, it's a little more ridiculous than the other two, but hey, it's Monster High. Monster High has always been campy and kind of ridiculous and fun. It's never been about super trendy high fashion. Are there little details here and there I personally would have changed or executed differently? Of course, but I'm not unhappy at all. I'm really excited to see where this goes. So, the second piece of big news. The new Haunt Couture dolls of Frankie, Draculaura, and Claudine by Mattel Creations. Again, I love these. They're stunning, they're beautiful, they're very, very in the spirit of Monster High, and capture the characters so well. Frankie, I'm just blown away by all her details. The fact her heels are switches that can actually flip up and down. I'm dead. I'm actually dead. I absolutely adore her color scheme, and the first time I saw her face, I thought it would take some getting used to, but the more and more I look at it, I'm just falling in love. And I did notice the actual doll's face is slightly less detailed than the product photos. I'm guessing the stock photos were hand painted, but I still think the face looks really, really cute. Draculaura, again, we have a very Lolita-inspired silhouette, and it looks great on her. She's probably my favorite, and I really don't think that's a surprise. I think this is such an amazing elevation of her first doll. The colors are so cool, the cape, which is removable, the skirt, the lace, the beret, I'm just on the floor. I can't think of a single bad thing to say about this doll, and you know how much I love saying bad things. Wait, actually, I do think her leggings are just like a few centimeters too short. That looks a little strange to me, but that's really more of a nitpick than anything. Claudine, she probably has my favorite face of the three, and her hair looks so cool. I love that her outfit has these little splashes of green here and there in the lining of her coat and the pattern of her undershirt. And I just love the way this outfit is put together. Again, I'm just so very impressed. She's the only one who has a plastic bag opposed to a fabric bag, but it does have a real chain, and I'm just obsessed with the fact it looks like she upcycled her first doll's outfit. Again, there's just so many details in these dolls that are so clever and were so clearly designed by someone who loved Monster High. Like, even Draculaura's hat is a reference to her personal organization, VAMP, Vampires Advocating Meatless Protein, and I'm not making that up, she mentions it herself in the little messages that come with the dolls. And that's an interesting thing. The Haunt Couture dolls come with diaries that imply they're a continuation of the G1 canon, not the new reboot. And we're also getting Cleo and Laguna dolls that will continue the stories, which makes me curious if the original canon will also be like running alongside the new canon. The live action movie and the cartoon, I think, are part of the same canon. I'm not completely sure yet. Are we just gonna like have those and then have G1 be for adult collectors now? I don't know, but I'm intrigued. The diaries also reintroduce a ton of things from the early days of Monster High that haven't really been referenced in a long time, like Claudine and Cleo having a rivalry, Draculaura being a journalist, Frankie's relationship with her parents, etc., which is so cool. But there's a big elephant in the room, a very big negative elephant, and that is the price. Each of the Haunt Couture dolls will be $75, and like, I can't really justify or condone that at all. That is extremely expensive, and I'm in a place in my life where I can afford them, but even just like a year ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to. There's a lot of collectors that are going to miss out on them, and this is really more of a Mattel Creations thing more than a Monster High thing. The price is way more reflective of the collectability than it is meant to be reflective of the quality. And the dolls do look great quality, don't get me wrong, but not $75 quality. I think anyone who is upset by this is very justified. It's a very sour note and a very unfortunate one, and the fact they only gave people a day, one single day to prepare before the first drop, that's terrible. But the problems with this release aside, I do think the current team behind Monster High has a really excellent vision. I think it's obvious they care a lot about the brand, and I think Mattel is giving it the attention and resources it'll need to succeed in the long run. We do have Playline dolls coming later on that will of course be more accessible, and I'm pretty optimistic about those. At the end of the day, Mattel is a shady company with shady business practices who is pretty well known for wildly mismanaging their funds, but they have some incredibly talented artists and designers working for them who are clearly just as passionate about this brand as we are, and I want to support them, and I'm stoked for this reboot. Okay, I've probably talked enough. sorry that this video isn't as well put together as my others. I just really needed to get this out before I literally exploded. But obviously, let me know what you think of all the upcoming Monster High stuff. Will you be tuning into the movie? Will you be buying the new dolls? What do you want to see for the Playline dolls? Tell me everything. And be sure to like and subscribe for any future fashion doll content.